Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to tonight's Board of Zoning Appeals hearing. This evening, we're going to pause for a moment of silence as the chairman of this board served on this board for 22 years, was chairman for the last 9 years, has passed away this weekend, and we just want to pause and reflect on his memory. Thank you. As I said, welcome to tonight's Board of Zoning Appeals hearing. Before we begin, let me introduce the members of town government that act as advisors to this board. To my left is Rachel Lenberger, counsel to the board. To her left is Matt Mazzaros, planner in the planning department. To his left is Liam Trotta, who's also a planner in the planning department. And to his left is Sabrina Butita, who's an environmental analyst with the Department of Environment and Waterways. You're here this evening seeking relief from the town zoning ordinance. New York State statute requires that any town that adopts zoning must also have a Board of Appeals to act as a relief valve, so that persons can seek relief without the expense of legal proceedings. The most common kinds of applications before this board are area variances. Area variances deal with dimensions of lot area, frontage, height, setbacks, and parking reductions. New York State statute mandates that the board must consider the following 5 criteria when evaluating area variances. When you come to the podium, when you come to the podium to present your application, please do your best to address these 5 criteria. You don't have to remember them, they're written on a piece of paper right up there so you can read them. First one is whether an undesirable change will be produced in the character of the neighborhood or a detriment to nearby properties will be created. Number 2 is whether the applicant has other feasible alternatives. Number 3, whether the variance is substantial. Number 4, whether an adverse impact on the environment will be created. And number 5, whether the alleged difficulty is self-created. This board also has the authority to grant special exceptions, also known as a special use permit or conditional use permit. This is a use that is permitted but under specific conditions designed to ensure compatibility with the surrounding area and the overall zoning plan. If all of the general and specific requirements are met, this board must approve the application. If they are not, this board must deny the application, unless they request variances. At that point, the 5 considerations and the balancing tests shall be applied. What is the balancing test? The statute requires that the board balance the interests of the applicant and those of the neighborhood or community, and the board shall grant the minimum variance it deems necessary and adequate, while at the same time preserving and protecting the character of the neighborhood and the health, safety, and welfare of the community. The board has the power to impose reasonable conditions that relate to the variance. Regarding procedures, cases will be called in the order that they were advertised. When your case is called, please come forward, submit your affidavits and mailing receipts to Mr. Collado, and then the applicant will be given the opportunity to explain to the board why the variance is needed. Again, please address the 5 considerations. After the applicant is done speaking, all interested parties will be given one opportunity and only one opportunity to be heard. Please organize your thoughts and keep your remarks factual, related to the case, as well as the variances being sought. Then we will ask the applicant to come back to the podium to address your concerns. The board will then close the case and reserve decision. After all hearings are closed, the board will review cases and decide some of them, and others will be reviewed at a later date. There are 3 ways to find out about your case. The first is you can wait until after the public hearing, but there is no guarantee that the board will act on your case tonight. The second way is to check the website after 11 a.m. tomorrow, and the third way is to wait and be notified by mail. After the case is closed, no additional information or testimony can be heard. We have a couple of adjournments tonight. Our first one is case 19407, Bola EM Realty LLC. Is anyone here for that case? That case is going to be heard at the next meeting, which is November 18th. And the one other one that is being adjourned is case number 19288, 521 Property Management LLC. Is anyone here for that case? That case is going to be adjourned to December 9th. I believe that is it. Matt, it's yours.
Good evening, everyone. The first case on the agenda is case 19406, Ferrara Family Trust. The location is Sunken Meadow Road in Northport. It's the south side of Sunken Meadow Road, 296 feet east of Trescott Path. The property is zoned R43. The request is a variance to reduce the minimum lot area due to environmentally sensitive land, slopes in excess of 15%, from 43,560 square feet to 42,300. The actual lot area is 60,001 square feet. That's for Lot 1. Alter environmentally sensitive land, depth of groundwater less than 10 feet for Lot 1. Reduce minimum lot area due to ESL, slopes in excess of 15% from 43,560 square feet to 24,802 square feet. The actual lot area is 52,759 square feet. That's for Lot 2. Reduce minimum lot frontage from 150 feet to 146 feet for Lot 2. Alter environmentally sensitive land, slopes in excess of 15% for the proposed retaining wall for Lot 2 within the subdivision map known as number 1199 Sunken Meadow Plat.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. My name is Vincent Tremarco. I represent the applicant. We've submitted the affidavits of posting and mailing to Mr. Collado. As the board can see, this is a recommendation from the planning board for the board to approve the environmentally sensitive lands that are in excess of 15%, and also depth of groundwater, which is less than 10 feet. They also asked the board to condition their approval. There are 3 conditions. I won't go through them with you now, but the board can very well look at them, and I think the board would go along with their recommendations. So we asked the board to go along with the planning board's recommendation and grant the variances. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone on the board have any questions regarding this application?
No, thank you.
I didn't read the planning department's recommendation, but there was some concern about the house, I guess, to the south. Where on that site is the high groundwater?
It's mostly in the front. What happens is the lots pitch up, so as you get closer to the front of the property, there's the high groundwater. There was a suggestion in their recommendation that if we, first of all, they say you can't have basements because they're concerned about the high groundwater. But as you move the property, the house back, if the builder decided to do that, then they would check the high groundwater and maybe be able to put in basements.
Okay. Well,
And there's also a conservation easement in the back, which we've agreed to.
that was the reason I asked the question, is that I was part of a conversation where I guess there was some concern that maybe we moved the one house to the south back slightly to
Right.
get it further away from that.
Yeah, that makes sense, yeah.
Okay. All right, thank you. Anyone else have any questions? Planning?
Yeah, so I can just clarify. So the test hole, water was encountered at an elevation 10 feet above sea level. So anything on the property, it's mostly Lot 1 towards the front, where the elevation is 20 feet. That's where the high groundwater is. So that's why the planning board did recommend that the lot be shifted further back or not have a basement for those reasons. They also recommended, since Sunken Meadow Road's a minor arterial road, that they provide, driveways with enough space for vehicles to turn around and not back out onto that road. And to mitigate against the steep slopes, further disturbance, 100-foot conservation easement along the rear properties. And then with the understanding that this layout's just for variance purposes, it still has to be reviewed from a subdivision standpoint for, regrading, drainage, public improvements, so.
We have no problem with the recommendations.
Okay. Thank you very much. Sabrina?
No comments, thank you.
Would anyone in the audience like to be heard on this application? There being none, I'll entertain a motion to close the hearing.
So moved.
We need a second.
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 Motion is second, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, case is closed. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I have a request. I was waiting to see if you were going to end up with a five-person board. I have two cases, Broken Dock Properties, 194, 114, and 115. I really need a five-member board here. This is a pretty ticklish application, so I'd ask for an adjournment.
Okay. Are we booked at the November 19th or 18th?
I think we have about 10 cases right now, plus like 2. Bola just got added, so it's up
Right.
to you guys, how many cases. We'll probably get a few more for the next meeting, but
Are you okay with, you want to be heard as soon as possible?
I'm sorry, November?
It will be November 18th, unless
Okay.
you want to go into the, we have 2 meetings in November, right?
No.
You
Only
have-
one, so that would be
you
in
have
December.
November 18th, December
No,
9th.
November 18th is fine.
All right, so, okay, we'll put it on for November 18th.
Thank you.
Do you have the
Was anyone
affidavit?
here for those cases?
Just, the affidavits of posting and mailings were submitted for that, those
You
two
have those?
cases, so, right.
Those were case number, hold on,
14, 15.
19414, 19415, Broken Dock Properties on Acacia Road in Kings Park. Anyone here for those? That's going to be heard on November 18th. All right. Case is closed. Let's put this stuff away.
Ready for the next one? So not hearing Bolo, so next case is 19408. Raymond Marchica and Aaron Higgins, location 62 Midwood Avenue in Nesconset, the west side of Midwood Avenue, 1,174 feet north of Chapman Road. Property is zoned R15. The request is a variance to reduce total side yard setback from 34 feet to 32 feet for an existing 450 square foot roof overhang.
Good evening.
Good evening, Christine Fay, Accurate Expediting. Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. My clients purchased the house in December 2024 with a roofed overhang. It looks like there was a permit applied for but never issued because of the 2-foot variance requested. The existing roofed overhang was built in line with the existing house. We feel it is in keeping with the nature and character of the neighborhood. We feel the hardship was not self-created, that is not substantial request, and would not affect the surrounding neighborhood. There are no alternative means than to seek a variance. I would like the board to consider granting this application.
Thank you. Anyone on the board like to be heard on this application?
No, thank
No,
you.
thank.
Planning?
No, thank you.
Sabrina?
No, thank you.
Would anyone in the audience like to be heard on this application? There being none, I'll entertain a motion to close the hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Case is closed. Thank you.
Have a good night.
The next item is case 19409, Smithtown Fire District. The location is 100 Elm Street in Smithtown, located on the west side of Elm Avenue, 671 feet south of Main Street. The property is owned R10. The request is a variance to reduce the minimum rear yard setback from 50 feet to 11 feet, increase the max gross floor area of a lot from 30% to 34%, for a proposed 6,236 square foot storage building, and to reduce the setback of principal buildings in a group development from 30 feet to 10 feet.
Good evening.
Good evening. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm Thomas Duckham from the Smithtown Fire District. I'm a commissioner, 100 Elm Avenue, Smithtown, New York. I would like to actually give Carmine Grasso the speaking rights for tonight.
We have all the post affidavits? Good. Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. My name is Carmine Grasso from Cataldo Grasso Architects, office at 14 Carl Avenue in Smithtown. Yes, I submitted all the affidavits this afternoon. So I represent the Smithtown Fire District in their request for variances to construct a new 6,236 square foot building for emergency response vehicles. The new building will have a greater setback than the existing building that's already on the site. The existing building is set back just over 4 feet from the rear property line. Our building is proposed to be just over 11 feet. The front and side yard setbacks are in conformance with the zoning ordinance. We're going to provide a dense evergreen buffer at the rear of the property to help mitigate the effects of having the shorter setback. There's an FAR variance required due to the partial mezzanines in the buildings. Both buildings, the existing building and the new one, will have mezzanines. The existing one already has a mezzanine. With the, if you took the mezzanines out of the calculation, the footprints of the buildings are well under the allowable FAR. So the actual footprint of on the site will not look out of line. The location of the building on the site allows the applicant to maintain the existing parking lot. The setback between the two buildings is in conformance with the New York State Building Code. I know it's not in conformance with the zoning ordinance regarding the setback between two buildings in a cluster like that. If we moved the building further away to maintain that 30-foot setback, we would create the need for a more intense rear yard setback variance towards the south end of the property. So we'd like to keep it at that distance. And the new building will allow the fire department to keep their response vehicles in a building that's close to the main station because they need to be able to have those vehicles getting in and out of the building rapidly. With regards to the area variance considerations, we do not feel that there's an undesirable change produced in the character of the neighborhood. The proposed building is going to be set back further than the existing one, as I said earlier, and it's going to be heavily buffered. Whether the benefit sought by the applicant can be achieved by some other method, it really can't, because the only place to construct the building is where it is and still maintain the existing parking lot, which is needed in the space. Whether the requested variance is substantial, we don't feel that it is, even though that the setback variance is substantial in terms of the required setback, but it's greater than what currently exists, and the FAR request is minimal. And whether the proposed variance will have an adverse effect on the physical environmental conditions, we don't feel there will be. There's no sanitary flow associated with the building. There's not going to be any plumbing in the building. It's just going to be for the vehicles. There's only going to be a minor increase in energy usage, and all of the stormwater from the building is going to be contained on site in dry wells. And finally, whether the alleged difficulty was self-created, we don't think it was. The building can't be constructed without the benefit of variances, so they're required. If anyone has any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Okay, we'll find out. One question I have is that with that reduction in the rear yard, are you guys okay with the buffer? I see you have a row of trees here, but if we put a condition on it that there be a buffer as per the planning director?
Oh, absolutely, yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. Anyone else on the board have any questions?
No, thank you.
Planning?
Oh, no thanks.
No,
Sabrina?
thank you.
Anyone in the audience like to be heard on this application? There being none, I'll entertain a motion to close the hearing.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Case closed. Thank you.
Thank you.
next case is case 19410. Costantino Realty Comac, PJ LLC. Location is 2 Henry Street in Comac. It's located on the southeast corner of Henry Street and Crooked Hill Road in Comac. The property is zoned SCB. The request is a variance to reduce the minimum front yard setback on Crooked Hill Road and North Service Road from 50 feet to 20 feet for a proposed 4,950 square foot, one-story commercial building. Reduce minimum parking from 3,282 to 2,193 spaces for a proposed 26,990 square foot first floor addition to an existing commercial building, and proposed 4,950 story commercial building. Increase the max height of a wall sign from 15 feet to 27 for a proposed 257 square foot illuminated wall sign.
Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Tanzi, members of the board. My name is Anthony Guardino, an attorney representing Costantino Realty and PJ Venture, which own the Comac South Shopping Center in Comac. Before I begin, I just want to express my condolences on the passing of Chairman Benz. He's a very nice man. So as was just mentioned, the applicant is seeking variance relief relating to parking, a front yard setback, and signage, all in connection with a proposal to expand the shopping center slightly and want to add a one-story, almost 27,000 square foot addition to the existing building where the Marshalls and Home Goods store is now, and a new almost 5,000 square foot retail pad that would be built in a very remote portion of the parking lot, in southwest corner of the parking lot. I have with me tonight Wayne Muller, professional traffic engineer with R&M Engineering, and he's going to testify in a few minutes with regard to the parking variance and explain why the parking that's provided will be sufficient. The site, I'm sure you're all familiar with. It's a little more than 50 acres, located at 2 Henry Street, kind of on the east side of Crooked Hill Road in Comac. It is zoned SCB, Shopping Center Business. It has frontage on Crooked Hill Road, and it also has frontage on the Long Island Expressway. I guess that's a North Service Road, or I guess an on-ramp or off-ramp, I guess, from the Saginaw Coast onto the Expressway. And then, of course, you have the Saginaw Coast Parkway that's located adjacent to the east. The property is improved with a shopping center that's comprised of a number of buildings. It is a fairly large shopping center. It's a little over 500,000 square feet, and it's anchored by a number of large retailers: Marshalls, Home Goods, Costco, HomeSense, Raymore and Flanigan, ShopRite, et cetera. And you have photos in your booklet at Exhibit 3. The property is located in the far southern portion of the town in an area that is overwhelmingly commercial in nature or bordered by major state highways. To the north, there's another large shopping center, which is owned by an affiliate of the applicant, and that is where the Walmart, the Home Depot, and the Kohl's stores are. And then to the west, of course, you have the Lowe's store, where I believe there will be multiple restaurant pads shortly, and then there's a gas station right on the corner and a truck stop, and that's located at the northwest corner of the northwest corner of the intersection of Crooked Hill Road and the LIE North Service Road. And then to the south, of course, you have the expressway, and to the east, as I mentioned, you have Saginaw Coast Parkway. There is an out parcel kind of like in the center of the shopping center. So the shopping center surrounds this kind of like the donut hole, and that's where the Civil Service Employees Association has its regional office. That's right in the center. So just by way of a little bit of a history, the site was industrially zoned until 1994. And the town board approved the change of zone to SCB to allow for the shopping center. There were conditions on the approval that limited the square footage. And then from 2000 to 2014, there were like amendments that were granted over time to allow the shopping center to get slightly larger. In 2016, the town board increased the maximum allowable square footage to 528,537 square feet. And all of this was done in consideration for the preservation of open space in other portions of the town. And so now we have the current proposal. The applicant is seeking to increase the allowable square footage from 528 537 to 555,713 square feet, which is about a 5% increase. And that request was approved a couple of weeks ago by the town board, subject to, or based, I should say, not subject to, based on a recommendation by the planning staff, and that planning staff report is in your booklet at Exhibit 5. And of course, subject to my client obtaining the variance relief for parking tonight. So the town board's approval will allow for the addition of the building, or the building addition to the north of the Marshalls and HomeSense store, and also the pad site. The plan is for Marshalls to vacate the second story of the building it's in now and move to the first story, and then they'll backfill that with retail uses. Again, there is this 5,000 square foot retail pad site without a tenant right now, but that is located in the southwest corner, and again, a very remote and underutilized portion of the parking lot. The proposal is going to require that parking be reconfigured because we are taking up parking spaces and building new building. The proposal is to provide 2,190 parking spaces, and that would be, it would be 1,701 paved spaces, 92 ADA compliance stalls, and 397 land bank spaces. However, based on the square footage of the various uses in the shopping center, the parking demand is 3,389 parking stalls, so we are deficient by about almost 1,200 spaces. And again, Wayne Muller is going to testify shortly that even with this deficiency, that the site will work, there will be adequate parking, and his recommendations are based on a parking assessment that his firm prepared, which is in your booklet at Exhibit 7. The retail pad that is proposed in the corner, the far west corner of the site, only provides for a 20-foot front yard setback where 50 feet is required, so that's another variance. This building will be located kind of opposite the truck stop and gas station that's there. And that's really the only use in the area. And then beyond the truck stop, of course, is Lowe's, but you do have then the LIE. So there really are no other uses, so I don't believe that the variance will have any impact on surrounding properties. And then the applicant is also proposing to add a 257 square foot Marshall sign on the new extension of the building. And that will be on the facade of the expanded building. We'll have a height of 26 feet 11 inches, so the variance is for 27 feet. The code, of course, only allows a maximum height of 15 feet. But if you look at the sign plans that are in your booklet, you'll see that the Marshall sign is kind of like located in the middle of the sign band of the expanded building. And the sign does comply in all respects to the sign ordinance, except for the height. So it's only the height that we need relief for. The sign also faces the interior of the shopping center. The only parcel, I guess, that's to the west is the Suffolk County DPW maintenance yard. So there's no one's really going to see this sign. So at this point, I'd like to introduce Wayne Muller to kind of address the parking deficiency and explain why, in his professional opinion, there will be sufficient parking on the site for both the proposed and the existing uses. Wayne?
Good evening. For the record, Wayne Muller with the firm of R&M Engineering. Offices at 50 Elm Street, Huntington, New York. As Mr. Guardino indicated, we prepared a detailed parking analysis of the subject property, which is contained in the packet that Mr. Guardino handed up as exhibit number 7. I do have 2 additional copies that I would just like to hand up for the record. Same one, that's it. And I believe that Mr. Guardino has adequately described the proposed project that's before the board tonight, so I will not go into all that level of detail because it all is contained in my report. But as Mr. Guardino indicated, in accordance with the town zoning ordinance, 3,389 parking stalls are required for the property. And the site plan that's before the board this evening contains 2,190 parking stalls, of which 1,701 would be paved, 92 would be ADA compliant stalls, and there's a total of 397 land bank stalls. Therefore, as Mr. Guardino indicated, we are seeking relief from the parking ordinance for 1,199 parking spaces. In order to ascertain the level of activity that's on the subject property, we performed observations of the level of parking existing on the site on Friday, October 10th, 2025, and again on Saturday, October 11th, 2025, between the hours of 11:30 a.m. and 6 p.m. There's an exhibit that's within my report. It's the colored exhibit, and that shows that we performed observations in all of the parking areas on the subject property. That being the area surrounding Costco, ShopRite, the, Starbucks, and then you've got the old Target, which is now cut up into a couple of different stores. And what we found was that the peak occupancy occurred on Friday with 931 vehicles parked, and on Saturday it was 1,073. So on Friday, the occupancy that we observed during the peak time was 49%, leaving 955 vacant parking spaces. And then on Saturday, the occupancy we saw was 1,073 vehicles parked, translating to a 57% parking occupancy, leaving 813 vacant parking spaces. We then computed a site-specific parking generation rate of the peak times that we saw on Friday and Saturday, and then applied that rate to the increase in building area that's before the board this evening. And that information is summarized on page 3 of 4. And what we found was that upon approval of this project by this board, the parking occupancy on Friday would slightly increase, and similarly it would slightly increase on Saturday. And there'd be tremendous amounts of available parking on the subject property as a whole to accommodate the uses. We took the analysis one step further because this is a very large parcel. And then we drilled down upon the areas that are specifically in and around the Marshalls building, because that's the largest expansion. And you can see from the plan, it's kind of isolated as it relates to where it is on the property. And that analysis is contained in bullet number 6 of my report. And then what we did find was that even by going to a very, very small area of the site and assuming the construction of the proposed Marshall expansion, there'd still be available spaces within those areas that we observed. So therefore, based on the analysis that we've prepared, it is my professional opinion that the granting of this application by this board will not create any undue traffic congestion or hazard, and that there's more than adequate parking provided on the property. And I would also like to extend my condolences to Mr. Benz's family. My firm was intimately involved with him during the construction of the design of the Computer Associates property over in Islandia. And yeah, he was a great guy. So again, my condolences. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Anyone have any questions? Mr. Muller?
No.
No? Planning?
Yeah, so I just wanted to clarify a few things. I don't know if you noticed, there's a difference in numbers between what we advertised for the required parking and what the reduction was to compared to your guys' presentation. So we did ours, and we double-checked this with Tom Filizzola. We didn't do our parking we only calculated it based on the pad site and the Costco, not the pad site and the Marshalls, not the Costco, because he indicated he wasn't doing that right now. That was sometime in the future. So, and I believe I said that in my memo to the town board, that it's anticipated as a future project and is not being considered by the BZA at this time. So The required 3,282 is based on just the Marshalls and the pad site, not the Costco expansion.
Okay. So
And-
then, my analysis then gets better, because there's less square footage on the property, and
But we will be building, it says to 2,193. There will be 2,193 built out?
I believe so, yes.
Okay.
That's what's shown on the parking plan, which
Including the land banking and the ADA stalls. Yeah.
And the land banking spaces are where? Behind the shop right?
There's some, they're sporadically shown across the property in like a light gray. So you can see there's some in the far northwest corner of the property.
Yeah.
Then there's some located along the Northern State, the Sagta Coast right-of-way, along the east side in the back by where, behind Costco. And then there's some more in the corner over by the intersection of Henry Street and Crooked Hill Road. So they're scattered throughout the property.
Okay, but they'll have those in case in the future there is a shortage.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nothing. I had a question.
Sure.
We were talking in planning the other day when looking at the site plan, and we noticed that the pad site in the southwest corner, requesting a setback variance, but it looks like you could comply, the Starbucks looks like it complies, by shifting the building, I guess, northeast from where it is, and then running the parking along that property line, or, you know, with the same setback as the rest of the parking? Is that something that the applicant would consider, and we could eliminate one variance?
I will bring that to my client's attention. The one thing, though, when I was speaking with the engineer, if the building, obviously, the building could be pushed back and meet the 50-foot setback, but when you move it back, then it gets closer to the parking that's being used by Costco, Christmas and busy times. I mean, that's still a long way from the store, but I've been there, and it does come all the way. So I think what they were trying to do is place the building in the most remote spaces on the lot where it would not necessarily have an impact on any of the parking that's used by the other users. But I will,
Okay,
I
it's
will
the
ask
only
them
reason I
about
bring
that.
it up is because it looks like you could most likely net out the same total parking.
Well, that's true. Yeah, Mr. Mueller is just pointing out something that I didn't notice. If you look at the site plan, there's kind of like a cut
Jog.
in the jog in the property line. So the reality is, I think this building is located as far or further away from the pavement
Yeah.
than the Starbucks. It's just that the property line cuts in there, which I
Yeah,
guess that's
I just
probably
look at it
state.
though as that being the right-of-way, and New York State comes in and decides they're gonna expand that
That's what it's for,
turn,
yeah,
and all of
yeah.
a sudden that building's right on the road.
Okay, I will bring that to their attention and see if
Okay.
we
I
can
think
shift it.
Matt, Liam was gonna take a look at it too, right?
Take a look at that.
Okay, thank you.
That's fine. Yeah. Thank you.
And that's all I had. Anyone else have anything?
Yeah, thank you.
No?
Thank you.
Planning?
No, thanks.
Sabrina?
Mr. Chairman, our review is still in progress until the board has decided on the zone of change that's proposed for the property per town code. Therefore, no decision will be made tonight.
Thank you. Good.
Thanks so much. Okay, have a good night.
Anyone in the audience like to be heard on this application? No? There being none, I'll entertain a motion to close the hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, case closed. Thank you.
Thank you.
You gotta keep that. Have some more.
The next case is case 19411, Connection. The location is 300 Kennedy Drive in Hopog, located on the south side of Kennedy Drive, 351 feet east of Marcus Boulevard in Hopog. The property is zoned LI The request is a variance to reduce the minimum parking from 334 to 316 spaces for the construction of a 26,265 square feet of land bank parking, associated site work and lighting, proposed basketball court with a new 6-foot-high chain link fence.
Hello, Chairman and members of the board. My name is Jean-Pierre Lardoux from Fusion Architecture. I'm sorry? Jean-Pierre Lardoux, Jean-Pierre. Last name is Lardaux. I'm with Fusion Architecture and representing Connection on this application. Along with me tonight is Heather Sunderson, who is also representing Connection, and Danielle Pantieri from JP Engineering, who's our civil engineer who's working on this application as well, and she'll be here to answer any kind of technical questions pertaining to the application. I just want to kind of go through a pre-prepared description of the project for your consideration, and we can take it from there. The applicant, as I mentioned, for this application is Connection, who is a management service organization for an affiliated network comprised of 7 well-respected nonprofit agencies on Long Island, namely IGHL, Angelo's House, NIS, CDD, Mary Haven, East End Disabilities, and Head Injury Association. The nonprofit agencies all specialize in providing services for individuals with developmental disabilities. The owner of 300 Kennedy is one of those affiliated agencies, specifically Head Injury Association. Head Injury purchased the property back in 2013. In 2014, Head Injury renovated the building to serve as their main administration office, building rather, as well as housing a OPWDD certified DAHAB program, who we just happened to work with them on, and it turned out to be a great project. Since all the affiliates are located in different areas throughout Long Island, Connection really wanted to create a common meeting space for all the agencies. And then it just turned out that Hauppauge is a great location, and it's in Suffolk County, so that's where they picked. The center will be a tenant. The center will be in a tenant space that we're retrofitting. It's approximately 5,055 square feet, and will consist of offices, meeting rooms, and training rooms. The previous tenant of that particular space was a hyperbaric room clinic operated by the Brookhaven Memorial Medical Center. The center will be operating between the hours of 9 a.m. and 4 p.m. Only employees and of the affiliates will be using the center, so they will not be renting or leasing that space. To accommodate the parking needs of the center, we're proposing to develop a new parking area at the east end of the property, adjacent to an existing parking area. The new parking area will be accessed via a new curb cut on Kennedy Drive, and will provide 75 parking stalls. This will be in addition to the existing 241 parking stalls provided on the east, west, and south sides of the subject building. The total number, therefore, of all the stalls will be 316, including 17 accessible parking stalls. The total number of parking stalls required by the zoning ordinance is 334. Therefore, we're respectfully requesting a relaxation of the number of required parking stalls of 18, which essentially comes out to less than 6% decrease. I just want to note that back in 2008, the site before Head Injury purchased the building had an approval for land banking 86 stalls. I think that there was some discussion about that particular number and actually what's out there. I can tell you that we're not too knowledgeable about the history prior to HIA purchasing the property, but Danielle Pontieri can maybe fill in a little bit if anybody has questions pertaining to that. I just also wanted to state that being at the site and that the existing parking is never really occupied fully. In my experience with them, only to the east is basically used, and then some of the spaces to the south and to the west are occupied. But for the most part, if I had to put a percentage, and this is not definitive, but I would say about 20% of the parking stalls are used on a daily basis. The rest of it is basically empty. Head injury would also, since it is a day-hab program and they're working with individuals on various aspects, they really do want to keep their basketball area. We're calling it basically a playground, but it's an asphalt area, which would be located to the southwest corner, adjacent to the new parking area. We would like to have a ground-mounted sign located on the west side of the curb cut on Kennedy to identify this particular parking for this particular center. And I guess at this point, if you have any, I'll let Danielle maybe give a little more on the technical component side about how she prepared the plans, and then we'll be more than happy to answer any questions after our presentation. Thank you.
Good evening, Chairman, members of the board. Danielle Panieri with JPCE Engineering. We did do the engineering of these plans. I think that
I'm sorry, can you spell your last name?
Pontieri.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course, with JPCE. I think that JP did an adequate job of describing the plans and everything that we have going on. I guess the only thing to add is our discussions with planning. We did close those 2 curb cuts to the west. If you actually bring up the actual site plan, which is C1, which did also add an additional 5 parking stalls. So those were previous cross-access that aren't used anymore. That was a request from planning. But other than that, I really think that JP covered pretty much everything that we're doing here. The previously approved number on those plans, I believe it was 249 stalls, but actually on-site is 236. So they did build it a little bit differently from when we actually took over this project. It was originally approved with handicap stalls that didn't have the required striping in between and all of that either. So that did kind of increase the number that was originally shown on those approved plans. But everything else, I really think that JP already covered, but of course, happy to answer any questions that you guys have.
I'll see. Anyone have any questions? No? Planning?
No, thanks.
Sabrina?
thank you.
And we have a seeker on this one. Let me see if anyone in the audience has any. Anyone in the audience have any questions on this application? There being none, I'll entertain a motion to close the hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Case closed.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Have a good night, guys.
Got it? Thank you.
The next case is case 19412, Felicia Pesman. Location is 588 North Country Road in St. James, located east side of North Country Road, 719 feet north of Oakfield Road in St. James. The property is zoned R43. The request is a variance to reduce the minimum side yard setback from 24 feet to 2 feet for an existing 202 square foot shed with 53.4 square foot roof over.
Good evening.
Hi, good evening. My name is Felicia Pesman. I'm the owner of this house. Actually, I purchase houses as is like that.
Could you, on the applicant?
Yes, Felicia. Mhm. And actually, Scott knows better than me because, I wasn't having any idea, all the, the stuff going on. And then he will explain. Go ahead.
Thank you.
Essentially, she's allowing me to speak for her. Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Here representing Ms. Felicia Pesman, who resides at 588 North Country Road, St. James. We're before you this evening only for...
Need your name
Oh,
spell your, and your
Scott Kahn, Kahn. It's 68 West Main Street, Oyster Bay, New York. We're here before you only for one variance. That's to maintain a frame shed with a roofed-over porch, having less than the required 24-foot side yard setback and asking for 2.3-foot side yard setback. Ms. Pessman purchased this property in June 2023. Unfortunately, there were items missed that needed permits from the title company. Upon filing for an AC unit, Ms. Pessman was informed by the building inspector that items on the property needed C of Os. In an attempt to avoid obtaining this variance, we had inquired about moving the shed, but it cost over $10,000 to move it. The location of the shed is clearly out of sight of neighbors, not visible from the street, and could have been in existence since the house was converted from a barn to a dwelling in 1948. There was a CO 1162 for that. In summary, there will be no undesirable change in the neighborhood or detriment to nearby properties. The benefit sought by the applicant cannot be achieved by another method. This is an unsubstantial request, and the variance will have no adverse effects on the environment, neighborhood, or district. Finally, the difficulty was not self-created. That's it.
Okay, thank you. Anyone on the board have any questions?
No, thank you.
No? Planning?
No, thank you.
No,
Sabrina?
thank you.
Anyone in the audience like to be heard on this application? There being none, I'll entertain a motion to close the hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second, all in favor?
Aye.
Case closed. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Have a good night.
The next case is case 19413, RJ Falcone Masonry and Landscape. The location is 35 Neslo Drive in Nesconset. Located on the north side of Neslo Drive, 540 feet east of Southern Boulevard, Nesconset. The property is zoned LI. The request is a special exception for a trucking station, a variance of a special exception standard for a trucking station to permit the use to be on a site less than 20,000 square feet, variance of a special exception standard to reduce the densely planted buffer adjacent to a residence district, or use from 50 feet to 16 feet. Variance to reduce minimum lot area from 80,000 square feet to 19,297 square feet. Reduce minimum front yard setback from 50 feet to 25 feet for a proposed 6-foot fence. To permit a fence greater than 4 feet in the required front yard. Reduce minimum landscaped area in the front yard from 80% to 73% of the lot. And reduce minimum parking from 11 to 3 spaces.
Good evening, Chairman, members of the board. Kevin Ream with an office at 12 Church Street in Kings Park. I submitted the affidavits and letter of authorization to speak. And on behalf of myself and the applicant, apologies on Chairman Benz. He was a friend of the firm.
Did you get spelled?
R-E-I-M as in Mary.
Thank you.
Here in front of you today, in front of the tenant and potential buyer of this property, RJ Falcone Mason and Landscape, which is a family-owned masonry business here in the town of Smithtown. The property in question is at 35 Nestle Drive in Nesconset, and if you've been down this road, this is a pretty unique area, you know, with homes on it, but it's zoned LI. So this is creating quite a hardship, as all, you know, our properties, the required lot size is 80,000 square feet, which we only have 19,297. The intention of our proposal is really to just use this as an actual LI zone for a small masonry company. Plan to keep 3 to 4 work trucks at the site for easy pickup. The workers would arrive in the morning, pick up the trucks, and then proceed to wherever the job site is for the day, and then bring them back at the end of the night. So we, you know, proposing heavy landscaped area to, you know, clean up the area. I'm sure, you know, we're the first, hopefully, in this area, you know, to do it the right way. We have reviewed the planning board recommendations. We're okay with everyone. We would like to, we saw the request. We originally had requested a 25-foot setback for the fence. the 2 fence and the gates that we are proposing for the entrances. Planning had recommended 35, if they could take another look at it for the 25. Just being how tight this lot is, and, you know, we're not really sure what's gonna happen when we get to the highway department, if they would do a taking or not with how tight the road is. I'm sure they would potentially like to widen it, you know, just the extra 10 feet would be great to us. And, you know, as we saw in the planning recommendations, with an estate-style fence, we're okay and up to, you know, whatever type of fence that planning would recommend. That's not a problem at all. One of the things that I saw in the recommendations, and also in order to make a determination, was to provide a truck study, which that was dropped off, and I believe some of you have it in front of you. It shows that we can fit a truck down this road, and with the 2 entrances we have, you know, an entrance and an exit, it does make maneuverability a lot easier, especially for a fire truck or our trucks. Now we don't have to worry about backing up onto neighbors' property, causing issues with anyone else, which is the reason we did it. Right now, the driveway widths are 20, but we're probably going to increase them to 24 just to help out with just easier access for our trucks and as well the fire department if they need. Something else that came up today was that the site, yes, is on well water. I don't believe that there's public water on Neslo. There is a hydrant right at the end of Southern. It's about 500 feet away, but the well water is active. There's a water filtration system within the basement. From a health department standpoint, this knocks our gallons per day we're allowed to 300 instead of 6, but we are well within allowance of building size. You know, there is no proposal to change the building at all right now. You know, keep it the same size, no additions or anything like that. Just to go through the 5 conditions, I don't think there's going to be an undesirable change to this area, as the entire site's located LI. There's a lot of properties in here that have storage everywhere. Our intention is to keep this a nice, neat site, landscape it, spruce it up, make it look nice. A lot of the variances are, you know, while they're not feasible on any other way, just due to the size of the property, you know, only being 19,000 square feet, where 80,000 is really the normal for LI zones. Most of the variances aren't substantial. A few are. Again, that just has to do with the characteristic of the property and the size of it. There will be no impact to the environment. Building is going to be staying the same, and we're going to be adding, you know, a lot of landscape, as we saw in the memo, and just the nature of our business. You know, we want something to look nice for the community down there. And none of these variances are self-imposed. They're all proposed work. So I'll be happy to answer any questions if anyone has.
See if we have any. Anyone have any questions from the board?
Are you gonna be storing any, like, equipment on there, or just trucks?
No, it's just the trucks.
Anyone else? Planning.
Kevin pretty much covered everything, but yeah, one of our main concerns was the conditions of Neslo Drive, and we just wanted it, you know, out there that turnaround area, and that, you know, highway necessary that up provided. When it comes to the fence, it was just an alternative. You know, when we're looking at the 5 area variance criteria, you know, you're supposed to look at alternatives. I figured you'd be a possibility to shift the fence back, but the board, if they feel like 25 is okay. And I thank you for addressing the well water. There was one of the neighbors had concerns about that. So that was going to be one of my questions, but you addressed it.
Okay. Sabrina?
No, thank you. No comments.
Would anyone in the audience like to be heard on this application? No? There being none, I'll entertain a motion to close the hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Case closed. Thank you. You too.
The next case is case 19416, Edward Fallon. The location is Lower Court in Smithtown. east side of North Ingler Court, Highgate Drive. The property is zoned R21. The request is a variance to reduce the minimum side yard setback from 16 feet to 5 feet for a proposed 645 square foot detached garage.
Good evening, John Gleason, architect. I'm here to represent Mr. Ed Fallon. I submitted my power of attorney to the planning department about 10 days ago, and I'm at 336 6th Avenue in St. James. My client Ed Fallon is proposing a detached garage on the side yard of his house. The setback is, we're asking for relief for, is 5 foot 6 inches from the south lot line. The reason for the location of the garage is that there are many mature trees in the rear yard, and the owner doesn't feel, excuse me, that building a driveway into the rear corner and building the garage in the rear corner of the property would be aesthetically pleasing to the way he uses his property. The plan to have a garage on the side yard. It will be located at the end of the existing driveway, and at that location, it would be more feasible. As you can see for the photograph right now, there's a fence line there, and that's where the face of the garage, proposed garage, will be located at. Its existing driveway is to the right side, correct, right there. The mouse highlights it. The garage, the front garage wall, as I just mentioned, is going to be set back from both the neighbor and the current Ed Fallon's house, the front wall. Due to vegetation, as I mentioned, in the rear yard, location of the existing driveway, this is the best alternative location for the garage. There will be no adverse environmental effects if the garage is built in the rear. At this proposed location, there will be no mature specimen trees removed. There may be, if it was built in the rear yard, again, may be some trees that would have to be removed and come down. The owner has not begun construction. I just want to bring some research that I performed at the planning department. And on Neil Drive, which is about a block away from Ed Fallon's house, on September 28th in 2011, this board approved a garage, detached garage, in a similar side yard area. It was a larger garage. The resident here, I guess, proposed about an 820 square foot garage, and the board approved for only a 750 square foot garage. And the board approved a 7 foot setback. I'd like to submit this example to the board, please.
Thank you.
If you have any questions, here to answer if I can.
I'd just like to point out that the one that you turned in was a request to 3 feet, and the board only approved to 7.
Yes, I realize that. We're asking for 5 foot 6, even though it's called in the advertisement is 5 feet. But if you notice that the way the property line is, that the back corner of this proposed garage will be at 7 foot 6, I believe. Right? So it's just the front corner that's be 5 foot 6 inches.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Anyone on the board like to ask any questions?
No, thank you.
Planning?
No, thanks.
No,
Sabrina?
thank you.
Anyone in the audience like to be heard on this application? There being none, I'll entertain a motion to close the hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Case is closed. Thank you.
The next case is case 19417, JMS Smithtown. Location is 810 East Main Street, in in Smithtown, southwest corner of East Main Street and Lawrence Avenue. Property is zoned CB. The request is a variance to increase the number of wall signs from a max of 1 sign to 2 signs for a proposed 49 square foot illuminated wall sign.
Good evening again, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. My name is Carmine Grasso from Cataldo Grasso Architects, office at 14 Carl Avenue in Smithtown. I submitted the mailing and posting affidavits and the mailing receipts to the planning department, and about a week or so ago, I submitted an affidavit, an authorization letter from the property owner, allowing me to make this presentation for him. So I represent JMS Smithtown, Inc. in their request for a variance to install a second wall sign on their building. The building's located on the corner of Main Street and Lawrence Avenue. There's also going to be a wall sign facing Main Street, which from what I understand was actually installed today. So we're requesting a second sign facing Lawrence Avenue. The sign's going to provide much-needed visibility for drivers when they're traveling west on Main Street. It's going to improve the safety of the traffic on Main Street by allowing drivers to see the building and the business before they have to make the left turn onto Lawrence to get access to the site, because the access to the site is on Lawrence Avenue. There's no room to install a ground sign on the property, otherwise they would have done that and would have been able to have better visibility, but that's not the case here. So regarding the area variance considerations, we don't feel that there is going to be an undesirable change to the produced in the character of the neighborhood. The proposed sign faces Lawrence Avenue, as I said, and there's adjacent building on Lawrence that has multiple signs because it's a multi-tenant building, so it's a common thing there. Whether the benefits sought by the applicant could be achieved by some other method, no, because there's no room for a ground sign on the site, so we need something to provide visibility from people on the east side of the building. Whether the requested variance is substantial, we don't feel that it is. Everything regarding the sign conforms with the zoning ordinance, except for the fact that it's a second sign. Whether the proposed variance will have an adverse impact on the physical environmental conditions, no. It's signage on a street frontage, which is very common for commercial buildings in town, and there's only going to be minimal energy usage for the sign, for the illumination of the sign. And finally, whether the alleged difficulty was created, no. It's the size and the shape of the property doesn't allow for a ground sign, so we would have to go with this this sign. So if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Anyone have any questions?
No, thank you.
Planning.
No, thanks.
Sabrina?
No, thank you.
Would anyone in the audience like to be heard on this application? There being none, I'll entertain a motion to close the hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Case closed. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night, everyone.
The next case is case 19418, Jamie McGurran. The location is 391 Landing Avenue in Smithtown, east side of Landing Avenue, 217 feet south of Oakside Road. The property is zoned R43. The request is a variance to reduce the minimum side yard setback from 24 feet to 20 feet for an existing 278 square foot rear screen room.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Jamie McGurran. I'm the owner of the house and also the applicant. So, as was said, we're requesting that we reduce the minimum side yard from 24 feet to 20 feet. When we purchased the house 5 years ago, the structure was already existing. So the area is pre-existing and will not change the neighborhood in any way. There's no other way to keep the existing structure without the variance. It is not a substantial amount. We're just asking to go from 24 feet to 20 feet. There are no environmental changes, and the structure existed when we purchased the home, so it was not self-created.
Thank you. Anyone on the board have any questions?
No, thank you.
Planning.
No, thanks.
Sabrina?
No, thank you.
Would anyone in the audience like to be heard on this case? There being no one, I'll entertain a motion to close the hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, case is closed. Thank you.
Thank you.
case is case 19419, Lance and Julia Hezron, location 3 Hay Street, Nesconset, south side of Hay Street, 92 feet west of Jackson Street. The property is zoned R10. The request is a variance to reduce the minimum rear yard setback to 17 for an existing 249 square foot one-story addition, existing 90 square foot second-story addition, and existing 56 square foot second-story deck. Permit environmentally sensitive lands to be altered where depth to water is equal to or less than 10 feet. Reduce minimum distance from any lot line from 6 feet to 1 foot for an existing 1,000 square foot rear deck, existing above-ground pool, and the existing pergola, which is 4 feet.
Good evening.
Good evening, Chairman and members of the board. My name is Lance Osrana. I own the property at 3 Hayes Street. We are, myself and the wife, requesting variance for the structures prior built to purchase of the home. The structures were built 10 years before we bought the home. That was originally indicated by the last homeowner. I spoke to Attorney Martin Simmons, told him my situation. The reason why we haven't finished with the environmental is because financial. We ran out of money doing it. So that's why we haven't done the cesspool yet. But the cesspool, we have estimates for the cesspool, which is a little above budget. So we did everything else that planning asked us to do. We hand in the affidavits and the receipts to planning today, earlier. That's it. I don't think that there will be any undesirable change to the neighborhood since it was built so long. I shouldn't have any impact in the environment since I guess we bought it that way. That's it. Sorry.
That's okay. Anyone on the board have any questions? No? Planning?
I believe this lot was it was part of a subdivision. I forget the name off the top of my head. I'd have to check. But I believe the rear yard was modified. I think it was to 17 feet. The 50 foot is obviously not possible based on the location. So I believe it does, it was granted some sort of relief by the planning board when it went before subdivision.
So pre-existing non-conforming?
Yes.
Okay.
But I know there's no secret. I could look into it to get you the exact numbers, but I remember looking at that when I was reviewing this when we took it in.
Okay, we can get that. Sabrina, you have anything?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Due to the presence of high groundwater on the property, the applicant has been notified that the submission of new test hole data within the past 6 months is required in order for us to complete our environmental review. A letter was emailed to Julia and mailed. I don't know if you received it yet.
We have received it, but we
Okay.
decided with the environmental, they requested a couple of things. The test soil, they requested the engineering drawing of the cesspool as well.
No, not the cesspool. It was just a test hole data to see how high the groundwater was. This is a letter by
Okay.
David Barnes.
So I thought it was all in one. Okay. If
Yeah, it might be,
that-
that might be something else with another department, but we were just looking for test hole data.
Okay. So, okay, if that's all that is holding me back, then that shouldn't be a problem. I can take care of
Therefore,
that.
no decision will be made until we receive that test hole data.
So as soon as you can get that to her, she can give us a recommendation.
Okay. So, that's the test hole data.
Yeah,
Okay, thank you.
thank you. Anyone in the audience like to be heard on this application? There being no one, I'll entertain a motion to close the hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, thank you.
The next case is case 19420, Antilla Management Corp. The location is 555 Route 111 in Hauppauge, located on the northwest corner of Route 111 and Town Line Road. The property is zoned NB. The request is a variance to reduce the required size of a truck loading space to 36 by 18 feet, reduce the required drive aisle width from 24 feet to 22 feet, and reduce the required side yard parking setback from 6 feet to 4 feet.
Good evening.
evening. My name is Mario Brancinelli. I'm representing Antilia Management. Jackie will be looking for me.
Okay, will you spell your last name for the record?
Branchielli.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Chairman, members of the board. I'm here representing the property owner, Antilla Management Corp. They've owned the property since 1991.
I'm sorry, we just need a name
Oh,
and an address, and spell your
course.
last name, please.
Jacqueline Peranto, Peranteau, principal at Key Civil Engineering, 664 Blue Point Road, Holtzville, New York, 11742.
Thank you.
Sure. The subject property is located at the northeast corner of Town Line Road and Route 111, opposite the Hop Hog High School. The parcel is known on the tax map as District 800, Section 156, Block 2, Lot 16. The parcel is zoned NB Business and is approximately 1.72 acres in size. The project consists of renovating the parking lot to provide additional parking stalls, a loading space, and a trash enclosure area behind the building. The existing recharge basin currently located in the rear of the property will be filled in, and dry wells will be installed in accordance with the town's stormwater requirement of 3 inches of rainfall. A 25-foot wide landscape buffer area lined with 6-foot-high green giant arborvitae, as well as a 6-foot-high stockade fence, will be provided as a buffer to the adjacent residence. Where 10 foot is a requirement by code, we're providing 25 foot. The main parking lot will be pulled in from the roadways, and a 6-foot landscape area planted with evergreen shrubs will be located along both Town Line Road and Route 111, blocking headlights from parked vehicles. Further, the parking on the north side of the property will be pulled in a few feet further from the property line and planted with vegetation. These landscape areas and site improvements improve the current property, but do request 3 variances from this board, and I'll go through each. The first being the reduction of the truck loading space. The variance would not produce an impact on adjacent properties or the neighborhood because the proposed truck loading space is adequate to accommodate the needs of all tenants. All deliveries are made using box trucks. The location of the loading space is adjacent to employee parking and allows for efficient management of delivery schedules and tenants, ensuring minimal disruption. Additionally, a buffer 2.5 times the minimum required width is provided along the eastern property line, which helps to mitigate any potential impacts to the neighbor. The request is not substantial because the size of the proposed truck space is sufficient for the needs and is not larger than needed. The benefit cannot be achieved by an alternative because increasing the size of the truck space would necessitate reducing parking spaces and result in a deficiency of the number of parking. Moreover, a larger loading space is not necessary to handle the operations of the tenants. The variance would not cause an adverse impact on the environment because the truck loading space is appropriately sized for the tenant's needs, and the difficulty was not created by the applicant, as a truck loading space was not provided on the record-approved site plan. The area behind the building has been historically used for employee parking and loading, and approval of this variance will allow for proper striping of the loading and parking areas as part of the amended site plan approval. The second variance is a reduction in the drive aisle width from 24 foot to 22 foot. This variance would not produce an impact on the adjacent properties or neighborhood because the 22-foot drive aisle, in my professional opinion, is sufficient for both vehicular maneuvering as well as for two-way traffic. The plan ensures a 6-foot buffer along the roadway to shield those parking stalls from view, reducing any impact to the neighbors. The request is not substantial because the requested reduction in the aisle width is only an 8% shortfall of the requirement, and it only affects 5 parking stalls located along the southerly portion of the property. The benefit cannot be achieved by an alternative because the distance between the building's south face and the property line has been in existence since Antila Management purchased the property in 1991. Because the building is not parallel to the property line is why there are only 5 parking stalls that are impacted and need the reduction of the drive aisle from 24 to 22 feet. The variance would not cause an adverse effect on the environment because the proposed changes improve the site by adding the landscape buffer of 6 feet along the roadway. And the difficulty was not created by this applicant, as the current distance from the building to the property line is a pre-existing condition. The last variance that we're seeking is a reduction in a side yard setback to parking located along the northern property line. The code requires 6 and 4 foot is being provided, where currently 2.2 foot is provided. So this is actually an increase in what exists today, albeit less than the code requires. The variance would not produce an impact on adjacent properties or the neighborhood, nor is this request substantial, as the proposed buffer on the north side is being increased from 2.2 to 4 foot. The benefit cannot be achieved by an alternative because restriping of the parking lot is what enabled us to provide the additional 2 foot of buffer, and further reduction of parking is not warranted. The variance would not cause an adverse effect on the environment because while the north side buffer still falls short of the requirement, it is an improvement and is replacing concrete with landscaping. And the difficulty was not created by the applicant, as it was an existing condition of which is being improved. With that, we respectfully request that the zoning board approve these variances, and we feel that it would be a better improvement to the overall parking lot. So I thank the board for their consideration. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Anyone on the board have any questions?
Thank you.
No? Planning?
I get that the variances are to bring this site into compliance, but are there any proposals for the building, like facade or anything? I'm just curious. No.
That's it, Matt?
Yep.
Sabrina?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. The current proposal to fill in the existing recharge basin for additional parking requires review from the town engineer, as well as additional drainage information showing how stormwater will be impacted and managed. We've asked Ms. Pronto to please provide some additional information to complete our environmental review. Therefore, no decision will be made tonight.
Okay. And you have that?
I do have that letter and corresponded with David Barnes this afternoon about it.
Okay. I just had one quick question. This has to go to site plan after us, correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Would anyone in the audience like to be heard on this application? There being none, I'll entertain a motion to close the hearing.
So moved. A second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Case closed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night. Last one, I think.
The next case is case 19332, Jacob Levy and Carolyn Colella. Location is 11 Gemini Lane in Nesconset, east side of Atlas Place. North side of Gemini Lane, 205 feet east of Atlas Place. Property zone R15. The request is a special exception to permit temporary living quarters for.
I'm Mike Colella. Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Yeah, we did this last time. Here's the affidavit of mailing. You want me to answer these questions here, or?
This is actually a special exception, so those do not apply. I
Okay.
believe planning would have prepared a,
I think Blaze prepared one a while ago. Is it in the packet?
should be, no? No?
If not, it's probably in the file. I don't know if you have the file should be over there. I saw it before.
Let's take a look.
This goes back a little bit.
No, that's not it. Want me to look? Rip through it quick. There we go.
Nothing in there?
Here we got it. June 16th, we received a report, and it appears that you meet all the general and specific standards. You want me to give it to you, and you can?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me, because there were a few questions I had. Yeah, so he went over, be occupied by the applicant's parents. The floor area of 356 square feet does not exceed the maximum permitted floor area of 600 square feet. The living quarters shall be economical and practical to be converted back to a single-family residence. And I believe it gets inspected every few years. The one question I had is, I noticed on the floor plans, there's no, like, bathroom. Is this just like a studio? There's no, like, bedroom area? Not that, I don't know if it's required or not, but it just looks like it's like a kitchen.
Yeah, just a kitchen and a bedroom.
So no bathrooms down there?
No.
Okay. And there were some sort of, who drew up the floor plans?
Me.
Okay, because there was some discrepancy between the layout. So I'm assuming those stairs heading down are the stairs to the,
First floor.
right. So there looks like the stairs are going into the foundation. And then if you look to the left side of the screen, the bedroom sticks out. That wall is flush, I'm pretty sure, right? All the way. It's just some things I noticed that were a little odd.
Can you just grab the microphone? Thank you.
Okay, so, flush, this is flush, correct?
Yeah, just looking at the side of the house, the pictures
Yeah.
that were provided don't show like a jog in the wall.
Yeah, do you want,
I was just pointing things out. I mean,
Yeah,
based
okay.
on this report by Blaze, you met the
Yep, it
criteria.
is,
Again,
yeah.
understanding that it's not for a random person off the street. The special exception does have standards in who can occupy that area. So,
okay.
just want to get that out there.
Is it all, can you state on the record that the temporary living quarters is for a direct family member?
Yes, 100% direct family member,
Okay.
me,
Okay.
yes.
I believe they meet all the other criteria, right?
Yeah.
But we don't have a secret.
Correct. The current application to add an additional bedroom to the existing single-family dwelling requires approval from the Department of Health. We need that information in order to complete our review. We have notified Mr. Levy of their need to contact the Health Department. A letter was mailed and emailed to him. Therefore, no decision will be made until we receive that information.
Okay, and that was sent through email?
So we did send a certified letter back in June. It was returned to us. A notice was left, and it never was picked up by Jacob Levy. But then we emailed him several times, the letter, to the email that was provided,
Okay,
outlining the information that we needed.
And that information is, say that again?
You need to go to the Department of Health and get approval for the additional bedroom that's being added. Because the house was built before 1973.
Okay.
It was built in 68, and at that time, when you add another bedroom, you have to get a health department approval.
So that existing space
Mhm.
is, like, I put a bed down there, so does it change to be a bedroom? Like, if I take the bed out? You know what I'm
You're
saying?
showing it as a bedroom, as living
Okay.
quarters, so in
Okay.
the eyes of the health department,
They want to see it?
they
Oh,
want to see that your sanitary system is sufficient
Okay,
because
All
of the
right.
age of the house and you're adding a bedroom.
okay. So I'll check that email and get that over to them so you can make a decision.
Thank you.
Do we appear back here again?
No.
Okay.
No, we'll close the case tonight, right? Or,
You can. Do you feel that the floor plan should be updated? It might be a good idea to do that.
well, so that floor plan is not what is existing?
There's just.
That was the first floor, yeah.
Just so if you notice on the left side of the page, you see how the wall isn't straight all the way to the back.
Right.
Whereas that's, so the, underneath those 3 bedrooms, the underneath is where the living quarters is located, and it's coming out from the side, so the entrance is coming from the left side. Is it?
Correct.
So this is showing the first floor,
This is
and
showing the
where the
first-
temporary living
this-
quarters is below that.
Correct.
So I think we should at least see
What's there? And then the stairwell was odd. If you notice the stairwell, it goes down right into the,
Yeah. Basement?
yeah, on the second set of plans, you can see it goes into a living space, if you want to, or whatever that room is, a utility room. But on the first floor plans, it looks like it's going in nothing.
So you can
Yeah,
submit.
I mean, I could put a arrow showing it
They
going
just-
downstairs, you know, and I could straighten this line out to show a flush, but.
I mean, they're supposed to reflect existing conditions. That's
That-
what my point is.
So,
I get
yeah,
it.
so if you can give us a set of plans that are accurate.
Yeah.
And then we can make that part of the record. We don't actually have to hear the case again. We can just
Right,
close it once we receive that information.
right.
So I'll get these plans rectified and with showing the arrow that's going downstairs, and is that
Yeah, because
suffice?
one of the standards is, the square footage, so I just want to make sure that that's accurate.
100%.
So,
I'll take care of that and submit it to the town. We'll mail it, or.
you bring it to the planning department.
He'll bring it to the planning department. Okay.
Okay, so we're not going to close this, and we'll keep it open until we receive that information, and then
The
DEW
Department
is
of
just
Health.
waiting on Health Department. Okay?
Got it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
We already asked if anyone wanted to be heard, but we'll leave the case open. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I believe that's it for our hearing for this evening, correct? Case 19406.
On case 19406, I'll make a motion to approve this application with the following, that we adopt the planning board recommendations, and should we consider moving the house back?
I guess planning board had already discussed that, and
Yeah,
that
so there was kind of 2 options. If they wanted to keep it where it was, remove the basement, because we noticed the basement floor elevation was going into like the high groundwater area, so you don't want to deal with flooding. So it was no basement, or if they wanted it, shift it back out of the high groundwater area.
So is that something that normally, because they're requesting variances, we can make that a condition, which makes it a little bit more certain that planning board would have the authority to request that?
Yeah, they could, yep.
So why don't we make the condition that, how far back do they want to move it out of the ESL? Because obviously, the closer back you get into the steeper
You start
slopes.
getting to the slopes. It was kind of left open a little bit, I guess, to kind of see what the best location is. I didn't really get an exact number, because it's hard to tell, because there's regrading, like topography on there with the existing.
So is it inappropriate for this board to not give a specific number? Or can we say, locate the building in a location acceptable to the planning director, trying to mitigate the impact on the steep slopes and the high groundwater.
I'm okay with that. Does that make sense?
Or do we want to, or do you want to come back
Do you
next
wanna-
meeting with a specific location?
Location?
Like two locations, one if they
Yeah, I see what
put a
you're saying.
basement, then it has to go in this location. If they don't, it can go to this location.
Yeah, I can do that.
So we'll just
Yeah.
hold off on that?
I'll come up with either if they're not using a basement, they can use this location.
And if we don't move the house back, don't they have to go for a test hole?
They did a test hole. That's how we were able to determine
did it.
the high groundwater.
Okay.
All right, so
The
we'll,
other concern on that, though, was the driveway. Is
Yeah.
it wide enough for people to
Yeah,
turn
so
around and move?
they could submit that with the planning board. You know, if they submit a revision, they would depict a driveway that shows, we've done that, I know on like at least one or two other subdivisions. One of them backed up or fronted Vets Highway. We didn't want people backing out on the Vets Highway.
well, since we've got the additional time, do you want to look at both of those things and give us a recommendation on the distance for the driveway and the location of the house? Because it kind of goes hand in hand.
Yeah, I can do that.
Okay.
Okay.
No action.
No action.
All right, case 19407, Bola is adjourned until November 18th. Case 19408, Raymond Marchica and Aaron Higgins.
On case 19408, I'll make a motion to approve this application as presented.
Need a second?
Second?
Motion is second, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0. Case 19409, Smithtown Fire District, we need a secra.
Yes, on case 19409, I'll make a motion to approve the unlisted neg deck.
I'll second.
Motion is second, all in favor?
Aye.
What, is it supposed to be a buffer per planning?
This is, we're only doing secra right now.
Oh, okay.
We're going now to on the merits.
On the merits, I'll make a motion on case 19409 on the merits to approve this application as presented with the condition that the buffer will be considered with the planning director approval.
I'll
Okay.
second.
Motion is second to approve with the condition that there's a densely planted buffer. Motion carries 4-0. Case 19410, no action. Case 19411, Connection, we need a secra.
Yeah, in case 19411, I'll make a motion to approve the unlisted neg deck.
Need a second?
I'll second.
Motion is second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion carries 4-0 on the merits.
On the merits of case 19411, I'll make a motion to approve this application as presented.
I'll second.
Motion is second, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion carries 4-0. Okay, case number 19412, Felicia Pesman.
On case 19412, I'll make a recommendation to approve this application as presented.
I'll second.
Motion is second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0. Case 19413, RJ Falcone, Masonry and Landscapes, we need a secra.
Okay. On case 19413, let me go over all the special exceptions to permit a trucking station to be approved. Variance of a special exception.
Well, we gotta do secra first, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, okay, I'm sorry. Okay, with 19413, I'll make a motion to approve the unlisted neg deck.
Okay.
I'll second.
Motion is second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion carries 4-0. Now on the merits.
Now on the merits, a special exception to permit a trucking station approved. Variance of special exception standard for a trucking station to permit the use to be on a site less than 20,000 square feet to be approved. variance of a special exception standard to reduce the density planted buffer adjacent to a residential district or use from 50 feet to 16 feet, approved with conditions. Reduce the minimum lot area in the LI zoning district from 80,000 square feet to 19,297 square feet, be approved. Reduce the minimum front yard from 50 feet to 25 feet for a proposed 6-foot fence. Did we want to change it? It says approved to 35. Did we want to go with 25?
I was thinking maybe we split it, because his concern seemed to be if the town ever came and widened the roadway, but
Right.
that would make it worse.
Yeah, we would have less room to play with.
Exactly. So I was thinking, obviously, this is the first one on Neslo Drive that we kind of want to get it right, because we want to establish a pattern that will kind of make it at least sort of what we do in the industrial park. We try to keep a set of standards so that it looks a certain way. And I think if we establish it right off the bat to 25, every other application is going to be to 25. When
Right.
it appears that their site will work at 30, right?
I think it does. I mean, the trucking, the plan they provided that shows the trucking turnaround, I don't think it conflicted with it.
Well, it doesn't affect it because the pavement's
Right.
the same no matter what.
Right.
Unless somebody else,
I'm good with that.
you guys okay with
Yeah,
30
30,
feet?
yeah.
Good with 30.
Yeah.
Okay. To reduce the minimum front yard setback from 50 feet to 30 feet for proposed 6-foot fence. Permit a fence greater than 4 feet in the required front yard, approved with conditions. Reduce the minimum landscaping area in the front yard from 80% to 73% of lot, approved with conditions. Reduce the minimum parking from 11 to 3 spaces, approved with conditions. Okay, and the conditions. The applicant shall install a decorative or state-style fence or screen with planting as directed by the Board of Site Plan Review. The applicant shall provide additional landscaping plantings in the front yard to mitigate the reduced landscaping area as directed by the Board of Site Plan Review. 3, the buffer along the east side and north side of the property shall be planted as directed by the Board's Site Plan Review to mitigate impacts on adjacent properties. 4, the applicant shall provide land bank parking in the event additional parking is needed in the future. And 5, the applicant shall provide upgrades to the roadway in front of the subject parcel if deemed necessary by the Highway Department.
Partially approve with conditions. We need a second.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. All of the requests were approved with the exception of the reduction of the fence, and that was approved to 30 feet. 4-0. Next two cases are adjourned until November 18th. All right, K's. Do you need the numbers? Sorry.
I'm sorry. You want me to read the numbers?
I got it.
Okay, go ahead.
Case 19414 and case 19415, Broken Dock Properties are both adjourned to November 18th. Case 19416, Edward Fallon.
On case 19416, I'll make a motion to approve this application as presented.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion carries 4-0. Case 19417, JMS Smithtown, Inc.
Case 19417, I'll make a motion to approve this application as presented.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0. Case 19418, Jamie McGurran.
On case 19418, I'll make a motion to may approve this application as presented.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0. Case 19419, we have no secret, so no action. Case 19420, Antilla Management, we are waiting on a secret, no action. Case 19332, we're leaving that one open for additional information. And 19288 has been adjourned to 129. Now on the back. 18677, Maria Dzensky is, we're considering that withdrawn?
Yeah, 2 warning letters were sent out by Blaze, October 13th, 2023, and May 5th, 2025. No response.
Okay, so we don't even, do we need a motion to consider it withdrawn? We just are gonna, okay, so case 18677 is withdrawn. Okay, case 19311, Spark Car Wash. We need a secret for that one.
So, can I just make a few? So that one. Where is it? I believe there were changes that were do you want?
Doesn't matter, however you wanna do it.
Should do. Okay.
Secret first? Adrian, we need you to give us a secret.
Okay, on case 19311, I'll make a motion to, unlisted neg deck.
I'll second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, 4-0 on the secret. Now, Matt, on the merits?
There were few changes. Oh, here it is.
I have this from last time.
What's that?
I don't know.
From the planning recommendation, right?
Yeah, the changes that they requested that, I believe the board was, I don't want to speak for you guys, but okay with. They mentioned the 2 tower signs. They were looking to increase the height to 28 feet. The applicant mentioned removing the logo, which would bring the height to 24 feet, and then the tower would be reduced accordingly. And I think that complied with the 36 square foot size for the sign. Is that something the board is
I know that's what we talked about on the record, so.
Yeah. That was basically all it was. Don't believe.
So do you have the PAR? Because there were some
Yeah,
other
I have
things.
the requests and I wrote down the requests and the decisions that reflect the change.
Okay, so you wanna,
Yeah,
you wanna read it?
I can read it. And one other thing, we did leave it open for written comment. I didn't get anything. You guys didn't get anything,
As
so.
per the request from the,
The applicant, yeah, and the one
and no,
got, I didn't.
nothing came in.
I got nothing.
Okay.
Do you want to see this, what was done before?
No, I think that's what Matt's gonna read right now,
Okay.
because there were some modifications from that.
One other thing, this was heard September 9th.
I have September 5th, yeah.
5th? It's the 9th. So. Members present were Tansy, Janet Dale, Valentine, and Savaretti, and Kim.
So just the 3 of us can vote on it. Okay?
So I'll go down. Car wash need.
You want this?
I tried,
Send-
this one's not better, but using both at the same time.
Both, yeah. Patrick wouldn't like that. Special exception to permit a car wash in the WSI zoning district approved with conditions. Variance to reduce the minimum side yard setback from 5 feet to 3 feet for a kiosk for a proposed 5,362 square foot, one-story car wash, approve. Variance to reduce the side yard buffer to a residence district from 50 feet to 3 feet, approved to 3 feet for the kiosk and 10 feet for the principal structure. Variance to eliminate the required 10-foot wide protective planting strip adjoining a residence district, approved with conditions. Variance to reduce the parking setback to a residence district from 25 feet to 10 feet, approve. Variance to eliminate the required landscape islands in parking rows, approved with conditions. Variance to increase the number of ground signs from a maximum of 1 per parcel to 19 per parcel, approved to 10 with conditions for signs numbers 6, 9, 5A-3, 7B-1, 7B-2, 7B-3, 7C, 7D, 7A-1, and 8. Variance to increase the maximum area of a ground sign from 40 square feet to 111 square feet for signs 6 and 9. That's approved to 75 square feet each. Variance to increase the number of wall signs from a maximum of 1 sign to 7 signs. Approved to 6 with conditions for signs number 2A, 2C, 3, 4, 1A, and 1B. Variance to increase the maximum area of a wall sign from 24 square feet to 74 square feet for signs 1A and 1B. Approved to 36 square feet each. Variance to increase the maximum height of a wall sign from 15 feet to 28 feet. That's for signs 1A, 1B, 2A, 2C, 3, and 4. Approved to 24 feet with conditions. Variance to permit a wall sign not to face a public street for signs 1A, 1B, 2B, 2C, 3, and 4. That's approved with conditions for signs 1A, 1B, 2C, 3, and 4. Variance to permit a ground sign not on the principal lot. That's for sign 9, approved with conditions. And the conditions are 1, a single shared monument-style ground sign shall be permitted along Smithtown Bypass, limiting the sign to serve the subject property, lot 5.1, the parcel on which the sign is located, lot 4.2, and any adjacent parcels requiring signage, lot 4.1 and 24. The overall sign height shall not exceed 10 feet in height. 2, landscaping and screen fencing shall be installed to buffer the rear of the highway yard as directed by the Board of Site Plan Review. 3, subject to obtaining a highway work permit and approval by the New York State Department of Transportation. 4, proposed wall sign 2B on the east side of the building is not approved. 5, proposed sign 8 shall be relocated to within 10 feet of the front of the building. 6, ground equipment shall be relocated behind the front of the building as directed by the Board of Site Plan Review. 7, vacuum equipment shall be painted with neutral coloring as directed by the Board of Site Plan Review. And 8, the logo shall be removed from sign 1A and 1B, and the height of the tower shall be reduced accordingly. Signs 2A, 2C, 3, and 4 shall maintain the heights as depicted on the site plan.
Okay. We need a motion to adopt the recommendation of the planning department.
Okay. On case 19311, I'll make a motion to adopt the recommendations from the planning department. And conditions.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Motion
All right.
carries 3-0. All right. And now case 19373, Matthew LaBroya. We heard that one in August this year. Of course, I don't have August.
1973.
We were just waiting on a secret on that one?
8/12.
No.
So just a reminder, this was August 12th it was heard. Giannadeo was present, Tanzi was present, Savaretti was present, and Vigilante was present.
Yep.
Am I saying your name?
Viliante.
Viliante,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
It's all right.
Viliante was present,
Said it
and
different ways.
Campisi was. So everyone here can vote.
Okay. Does anyone have their notes on that one? Well, it's probably in here somewhere.
It was August.
August 12th.
Do you have August?
problems with it?
Yeah, to contact the highway
An
department.
encroachment agreement, which I believe was
Is
executed.
this that big one on the side,
On
not
the
the
big
one that
hill.
was on the side of the road?
Yeah, we have it up
I remember
here.
that one.
I think the file should be in the crate, but
Didn't they have to
Was the-
contact the highway department on that one?
yeah, they had
19373.
structures in the right-of-way.
19373.
I didn't have any problem with that one.
3, 7, 8.
They were,
Right.
The hill
Do you have a
going down.
problem? Did you have any notes problem with?
I didn't have an issue with it.
You didn't
Oh,
have
it
an
had no
issue?
issues, it said no issue.
Nope.
Okay,
That's what it said.
okay.
That was
We had
the-
comments
they-
from DEW?
That's what it was, it was more of that.
Okay,
They were doing a beautiful job.
all right, so we need a motion?
Okay. On case 19373, I'll make a motion to approve this application as presented.
I'll second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, motion carries 4-0. Okay, 9-9, case number 19383, Vincent DiMarzo.
Wait a minute, I have that here.
I have that one.
that was the restaurant pizza business on the corner of Woodlawn and Lake Avenue in St. James.
I had no problems at all with it.
I did have some notes here.
Okay?
It said condition, the PAR is for a 4-foot open fence and plantings.
So our PAR said the applicant shall install and/or maintain planting along the east property line to enhance the screening between the proposed commercial use and the adjacent residential property. This shall be done to the satisfaction of the Board of Site Plan Review. There was discussion about also incorporating a fence. I believe that's something that's required for site plan.
Yeah, we should have a big fence along the.
But we don't need to condition that just has to happen.
Okay.
The buffer is not part, so we should add the buffer to the conditions? And that was between the residential parcel?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I have neighbors are good with it too, so.
Yeah, my concern was just the neighbors are good with it because it's a vacant house right now. It's a vacant office house and it's been like that for 30 years. I think my parents said they're closing in that building in the early 90s. My point was, it's a restaurant now with cars coming in and out all the time, so I don't want to speak for that neighbor, but you're gonna have lights
Okay.
pointing into your yard.
So you guys okay with that condition?
Yeah.
Okay. Motion we need?
Okay, case 19383, I'll make a motion to approve this application.
Let me just, sorry.
I don't think I was here on that, right?
What's the date on this one?
It's not applicable.
9/9/2025.
If I read
9/9.
something.
Giannadeo, Valentine, Tanzi, Savaretti, and Campisi.
So just three of us?
Three of
Yes.
us.
Okay. Go ahead, Adrian.
Okay, on case 19383, I'll make a motion to approve this application as presented with the conditions.
Second.
Motion and second,
Yeah,
and the condition is that a
buffer?
densely planted buffer acceptable to the planning director be installed along the property line adjacent to the residential parcel.
Right.
Motion carries 3-0.
Okay.
Case 19400, Stephen and Anati Bonacera. That was on
So-
9:30.
This one had to do their
The only
LW.
thing I have here was the fence was supposed to be put back on his property.
Yeah, so they did an LWRP, there were conditions for the LWRP. I recommend that they be incorporated as conditions to this variance request, and also add that all encroachments onto neighboring property shall be removed,
Okay,
if you're okay with that.
yep.
Okay, so I think, on case 19400, I make a motion to approve. Yeah.
So what was the date on this one, 9:30?
Yeah.
Giannadeo, Valentine, Tanzi, Savaretti, Viliante, everyone can.
Okay,
So
thank
it's
you.
just three of us?
No,
Four.
four.
Four? Okay, okay. On case 19400, I'll make a recommendation to approve this application as presented and approving or adopting the LWRP recommendations and the condition that the fence be brought back on their own property.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion carries with conditions 4-0. Okay, we have a couple of requests for extensions. One's 18777, Wisconsin Gas Heaven, Inc., looking for a 1.5-year extension. It's their third request. Anyone have a problem with that?
No.
All right, so we need to vote on that. Motion?
Okay, I'll make a motion for 777 to extend the extension for 1.5 year.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. All in favor? Motion carries 4-0. And now they also had 19194, which was a later application for the same parcel.
Yeah. On case 19194, I'll make a motion to approve the extension for 6 months.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. 6-month extension. And I believe that is all the work we have to do.